All right, let's go ahead and get started. So, again, thank you guys for joining today. This is our first customer webinar of the year. We ended 2025. Oh, this says 2025. Let's go ahead and fix that real quick. Ha. All right, there we go. We ended 2025 with a webinar that is the exact same topic as this one, but for our desktop customers. As you might know, Webgility Desktop, our desktop product, and our online product are very similar in function, but they have a little bit different interface and some other knobs and levers that you could push depending on which one you use. So we like to sort of split these webinars and make sure that we're speaking to our online customers directly and our desktop customers directly, just to make sure there's no confusion. Eric says that they're in New Hampshire, so awesome. We got someone across the country. Again, it's always cool to see where you guys are at. Um, Today's webinar might be very quick. The topic of refunds can typically be a pretty simple one. After all, it's just another type of order. There's some nuance to how you handle refunds and returns, and maybe how you want to have that affect your inventory, which we'll get to. But for the most part, it's a pretty straightforward conversation. We'll go through the agenda here in a second, but just to get some introductions out of the way, if you have not met me, had the wonderful pleasure of seeing my face, I am John May. I am the engagement video manager for Webgility. I'm the face and voice. If you call our online or our phone system, I am on the IVR. If you've been to any of our webinars, I'm the person that you're stuck with. I'm also joined by Parit. He is on our implementation team. If you want to say hi.
Hi, hi everyone.
Yeah, we love to have the implementation team on these calls. I mean, you guys deal with Webgility problems and setting up Webgility on a day-to-day basis, so nobody knows the product better than you guys. So it's awesome to have you guys on these webinars. So, um, the agenda for today, again, pretty straightforward. We're going to talk through how Webgility looks at refunds, like what the process of a refund looks like from the Webgility perspective, how Webgility downloads those refunds, some of the common accounting methods that are used depending on the accounting platform that you use. And then we'll go into the configuration and best practices. One quick forward that I like to add on all of these, where we're sort of demoing things that can be sort of difficult to demo. Um, we, especially with things like Amazon, have a bit of a hard time doing live demos where we're actually clicking through Amazon and clicking through Webgility, mostly because Amazon doesn't have sandbox accounts for us to play around in where we can show you these things that are happening. And it's more often than not even more complicated to get a sign off from a customer to use their live data. So what we do in this case is we use screenshots and then we can talk through the screenshots. If you do have more in-depth questions as we go along, feel free to drop them in the webinar chat or the Q&A section as well. We're more than happy to answer questions as we go through the webinar. We do have a dedicated Q&A session at the very end of the webinar, so if it's not something that maybe we're directly speaking about in that moment, feel free to put it in the Q&A and we can get to it at the end. We can answer just about anything. If it has to do with your actual Webgility subscription, like something that is very specific to your subscription, it might be something that we need to follow up with you after the call on. But either way, we will get to answering your questions and making sure you're feeling confident. So let's dive right in. So Webgility is, we look at orders very similarly to how we look at refunds. We look at them in a separate way, though. So when we pull orders in, we're looking at, the originated order from Shopify or Amazon or WooCommerce or whatever store you're using with all the information that you would see in an order. With a refund, we're looking at that essentially the same order that it originated from, but an updated version of it with the refund details or the return details. So this all sort of hinges on the store itself giving us the information that we need. So stores like Shopify, Amazon, and WooCommerce have that built-in refund process already. It's built in, baked into their system. So when somebody on Shopify returns an order and you process that refund through Shopify, we will just download it as an update. We'll see that that has been done because Shopify has that built in. Some lesser known stores, and you might not see them through Webgility much anymore because most of our users use Amazon, Shopify, WooCommerce. It's the big ones. But sometimes you might see some roundabout, I guess, configurations to make sure that refunds can be pulled in properly. It's all something that we sort of take the lead from the store on, though. So just remember that the store kind of sets the tone for how we pull orders and refunds in. You might see refunds pull in separately or under different names, depending on the store type. So, refunds, returns, refund receipts, you'll see credit memos as well. And we'll explain what we recommend and how we recommend you pull those refunds into Webgility through. Um, and then again, just to sort of reiterate, Webgility relies on the online store and that order status for us to classify it as a refund. So if there's nothing in the store that you use telling us that it is a refund, we might just see it as a regular order. That doesn't mean that it can't be processed and that you can't set it up to be a refund. It just means that we're not immediately seeing it as a refund or a return. All right, and downloading refunds is super simple in Webgility Online. It's simple in Webgility Desktop as well, but in online it gets even more distilled. Essentially, whenever your online orders sync in Webgility Online, we're pulling any updates. So those updates would be generally refunds and returns. Um, and when those get pulled in, they're going to be under the orders section in the refunds column. Um, from there, each refund is linked to the original order, so you'll be able to see that it is attached essentially to that original order that came through, so that you know that they're essentially the same transaction. And then before we get into the sort of the quick demo, the screenshots that we talked about, I'll let Purrit take the lead on that. The accounting methods that are commonly used, you'll see these, you know, depending on which accounting platform generally is how it breaks down. Credit memos are generally going to be recommended for QuickBooks Desktop. Refund receipts are going to be recommended for QuickBooks Online, and then voided transactions are in point of sale. Point of sale doesn't have generally the option to do a credit memo or a refund receipt. Generally, all it's doing is just reversing the transaction inside of that point of sale system. Um, so yeah, this is again more of a generality. It's not a rule of thumb. You might see, you know, people using credit memos that are on QuickBooks Online. You might see people use refund receipts on QuickBooks Desktop. It's just a matter of how it's recommended to be set up, and we'll kind of explain why here in a moment as well. But I will hand it off to Pruitt so he can kind of show the process for how the refunds look, how to set things up inside of Webgility, and then we can get to some common issues, best practices.
All right. Thank you, John, for having this wonderful introduction and picking out some of the main features that usually WebGLT handles and usually is handled by WebGLT Online, to be very specific. So we have chosen a specific sales channel here that's Shopify as of now, but we can definitely download your refunds from all the kinds of sales channel, like from Amazon, from BigCommerce, WooCommerce. So we'll see all the kinds of refunds in the refund tab, as John mentioned earlier. To talk specifically about Shopify, how you can process your refunds on Shopify is as you can see on the screen. Once the order is placed, click on the return refund option within your Shopify store, put in the inventory value. As you can see on the screenshot, it's share. So when you put in share, it will automatically populate the amount that needs to be refunded. Then click on the refund shipping option if you want to refund that shipping, or else you can leave it blank and then click on refund. As soon as you do that, you would see a refunded option getting enabled on the order itself, which would be on the next screen share, which is right here. So at the top, you would see a refunded order. This means that the order comes into WebGility Online and the refund also comes into WebGility Online automatically. So you don't have to bring in either the orders or the refunds by downloading them manually. It would automatically be downloaded within WebGility Online. Let's look at how we will be posting your refunds to your QuickBooks. To set up refunds is pretty simple. You can post them based on single transaction type, but do remember that when you post an order, After that, only you can process a refund. So without posting an order to your QuickBooks Online, you cannot process a refund. It would give an error. So first, once the order is placed as a sales receipt, as an invoice, and then we'll be processing your refunds. So here are a quick setting wherein you can click on refunds under the sync setting option. Choose it to be single transaction type. If it's single, you can choose also a different transaction type when it's based on currency, when it's based on order type, depending upon how do you want to post. But the best recommended practice is posting a refund as a refund receipt. There is a reason behind why we post orders as a refund receipt. It gives you one of the refund account from option within your QuickBooks. Whereas if you compare it with the credit memo, there is no option as such. So usually we recommend our clients to post every refund as separate refund receipt on your QuickBooks. Talking about the other options, yes, we do have other options as you can see on the screen. Whereas it says set the payment method, you can set it on the order, which system should assign the refund number, whether it's the order or whether it's the refund number. What should be the date of the recent refund receipt? It should be the order date or the refund date. Similar thing, what should be the display message? Should it be the refund ID or should it be anything else? So all these options can be selected. Even if you want to post that shipping charge that we talked about earlier as a line item, you can toggle this key and post it in the refund tab. Talking
Uh,
about the
and it
sorry.
looks like Scott has a question about using Zero. Would you use Credit Memo for Zero?
Yes, so Zero is another accounting platform. We are only talking about QuickBooks as of now, but yes, for Zero, it's a credit memo.
Perfect.
All right, talking about the shipping charge or refund fee or discount as a line item, you can toggle these keys and choose the dedicated item that you have created on your QuickBooks. Even if you want to track locations or classes, you can toggle that button and select the classes or the locations, which are at the very bottom of the screen. And there are some of the clients that do not want to post $0 orders. So you can toggle this key and not post those $0 order or refund that are available for both the orders and refunds. Let's get to the next screen and let's see what options do we have there. So as I usually mentioned, in the chart of accounts, we get the deposit account and we want to use the same clearing account that we will be recording the deposits to as a refund from account. In case you don't want the same account, you can always uncheck the box. We'll be seeing on the next screen that when we uncheck the box, what options do we get? So we get these options that comes from your chart of accounts on your QuickBooks. If you want to select the main bank account, you can choose that bank account and then post all your refunds from that bank account. So usually it's recommended that you can choose the same bank account where you're depositing the money to. Let's say if it's Shopify clearing account, or in case of Amazon, it's Amazon clearing. You can toggle the key and use the same clearing account. If not, if you want to use the main bank, there's your option. So as I mentioned, single transaction type would fall like every order when it goes into your QuickBooks as a separate order. You can also post single transaction type the same way for the refunds. In case if you want to bifurcate orders based on these different transaction type, like the currency, if you have Canada orders or Mexican or Brazilian orders, you can bifurcate them based on currency. If you have store type, that's different. If you have order type, that's paid, unpaid, or if you have third party applications like TikTok, Facebook, you can always bifurcate your orders using these options. As I said, we can post your transactions in two ways on your QuickBooks, one being the refund receipt that's recommended, and the other one being credit memo. So here are your settings for the same. So I have taken a screenshot from the QuickBooks that how a refund receipt would look like. So you can clearly see here is the refund receipt and it gives you a clear option of refund from which is this that we chose as a clearing bank account. So you can choose this option within WebGility and it will reflect from the same clearing account. I've also taken a screenshot of credit memo in the next page wherein you don't see any option as such. So this is the difference between the credit memo and the refund receipt, and that's the reason we suggest refund receipt, not credit memo.
Yeah, just more flexibility on the refund receipt.
Yep, that's true. So just to the side of the orders tab within WebGility under sales, you would find a refunds tab. For desktop version, it's quite different. For Amazon, like the refunds come were from the settlement report, but here within WebGility Online, refunds would be automatically downloaded in the refunds tab. So when you post that those orders to your QuickBooks, right beside that you would see a refunds tab, and all the new refunds you would be seeing in the new refunds tab. You can click on them and post to QuickBooks, but do not forget about our automation. Our automation does it pretty quickly and pretty fast, so it you don't need to click on any of the orders or refunds and post them. Automation would be doing it automatically for you. Let's say if you have posted an order or a refund and you want to unpost it, you can always go to the posted tab, click on the checkbox for the respective refund that you want to unpost. And at the bottom left, do click on unpost to unpost and bring them back. Unposting the order or unposting the refund will automatically delete the transaction from your QuickBooks Online. So whether you have created a sales receipt as an order posted, or whether you have created a refund receipt by posting a refund, they would get automatically deleted when you unpost them through WebCharity.
Yeah, and this works the same in WebGility Desktop. If you're using a point of sale system, I know that I mentioned earlier that point of sale does not have a credit memo or a refund receipt, so it does not create a transaction. It actually just voids it. So what you'll see in this case, if you were to again, this is only for point of sale. I don't, maybe none of you have point of sale, but just to kind of explain it, if you're using point of sale on WebGility desktop and you hit unpost on an order like here, it'll just void the transaction inside of QuickBooks POS or Square POS or Shopify POS. All right, and just a couple, I guess, um, cause and effect explanations. Obviously, when we're talking about refunds, a lot of the time it's associated with a return, right? Not always. Some of the time it's before you even sent out the inventory or that you fulfilled the order. But a lot of times it's associated with a return, whether the item itself was damaged or if it was just an accidental purchase or whatever it is, that item's coming back to you. So what that means is that it's going to affect your inventory to kind of accommodate. So one thing to be aware of is that some platforms might include adjustments for like the refund fees. Amazon's a good example of this. If you process a refund, there's going to be an adjustment on the following settlement report, I believe, that has that adjusted fee based on the refund that was or the return that was done. Same thing with commissions, shipping refunds, stuff like that. But when it comes to restocking behavior, a lot of that is really up to how you want to handle it. So, again, if the item is damaged, you're going to want to remove that from the stock or keep it removed from the stock in your inventory. But if it's just a return, the item is still, fully functional, able to be resold, then you want to adjust the inventory and stock it automatically. Um, Pruitt, do you have any suggestions for managing that in WebGility Online? I know once the refund is processed, the inventory gets synced, but in terms of like manually removing the stock, is there any sort of suggestion that you have for them?
Uh, no, when the refund receipt gets created on your QuickBooks Online, it automatically reduces or adds back the inventory.
Mhm.
There's no actual option of readjusting it, but you can manually go ahead and readjust your inventory when you actually move into the items tab or the products and service tab.
Yeah. Yeah. So you'll just have to do that portion manually. I'm assuming that doesn't happen a whole lot. I'm sure you don't get 100 returns a day that are from damaged items. That would be kind of absurd. But yeah, just good to know that if you do have to make that adjustment, you can do it through WebGility. You can make that items adjustment if you need to. Also, the last thing here, just some common issues, best practices, more just best practices than anything. When it comes to refunds, they are again attached to a specific order, attached to the items in those orders. So make sure that all of your products are mapped or matched inside of Webgility to make sure that there's no missing items or errors that you run into when you're doing refunds and returns. It's a good best practice just outside of even refunds. It's good to have all of your products matched so that we know, what items are in your QuickBooks versus what items are in your Shopify and how they communicate to each other. Scott asks, does the refunded sales tax show as a line item per writ? Do you know the answer to that question?
So if you are posting your sales tax as a line item, then it would come as a line item. If not, it would come in the sales tax field where we post your orders. So if you post an invoice or a sales receipt, every invoice or sales receipt has three basic dedicated field at the bottom right corner, one being the discount, one being the sales tax, and the other one being the shipping charge that you collect from your customers. So if you have posted them as a line item, they would come right under the item. But if you haven't selected the line item, it would show up at the bottom right corner.
Perfect, that makes sense. So it's all dependent on how you have sales tax set up within WebGility under the sales tax section, is what you're saying.
Yes, that's correct.
Got it. So if you've gone into the sales tax section under the orders settings, and specified that you want sales tax to be pulled in as a line item, it will pull the refund sales tax as a line item as well. Cool. I hope that answers your question, Scott. Last couple best practices here. Confirm that your settings match your QuickBooks workflow. So it should go without saying that any of your settings when it comes to what clearing accounts you've mapped or how you want, like sales tax, how you have your sales tax mapped, make sure that it matches exactly how you want your QuickBooks to be set up, right? Like if you don't know which clearing account you should be using, go through your QuickBooks and make sure that you have that sort of planned out ahead of time, so that you're not sort of creating spaghetti inside of your accounting workflow. And then last thing, review the clearing accounts, or even if it's not a clearing account, if you're using any dedicated account for your income, for your expense, for anything, and you're doing reconciliation, it's good to make sure that all the numbers match up, that things are consistent, especially when you're introducing a new practice. So if this is a new sort of workflow for you to do refunds directly through WebGility, it's good to understand, again, the cause and effect, understand which clearing account or which account you're mapping to, and that the numbers match up at the end of the day. Because that's the whole reason we're here, to make sure that your accounting workflow is as streamlined and efficient as possible, and that you're getting accurate information. So if it's not accurate, it's good to nip it in the bud as soon as possible. But that is all the refund conversation that we have for you guys. This is now the portion of the webinar where we do a dedicated Q&A. You can ask us any question, even if it doesn't have to do with refunds or returns, and we will do our best to answer it or get you in front of the people that can answer it. We'll give it a couple minutes. I know this was a quick session, so if there are no questions, we can go ahead and end the webinar early, give you guys an extra like 17, 18 minutes back in your day.
I think Marcia has a question.
Oh, I see. My Q&A tab got hidden. How do I set up that my orders to not show automatically paid in QuickBooks?
So what
Um,
you can
oh, go ahead.
are you
Go ahead.
so I was gonna say, Marcia, that if you choose your orders to post as sales receipt, definitely sales receipts are always paid, so they would show up as paid. But I would suggest you, if you don't want to set up your orders to automatically marked as paid within QuickBooks, post them as an invoice. So it would be an unpaid invoice.
Yeah. Yep. And if you're like even talking specifically not about posted orders, right? Like if you wanted to pull in orders that haven't yet been charged, it would just all be dependent on the statuses that you pull in. So if Shopify has an unpaid order status and it's not even one that you're trying to post to QuickBooks, you can have it pulled in and not post if you need that as well. So there's some flexibility in a number of ways for you. Perfect. And then I see Robert, you're in Nebraska. See, like I said, there's people everywhere. It's awesome that there's such a diversity to where people are geographically located with Webgility. We have a lot. I mean, it makes sense that we have a lot of customers in like, LA and New York and like, the population hotbeds of the US, but it's really cool to see people in you know, the sporadically spread across the US. All right. Looks like we don't have any more questions. Feel free to ask if you do. Just want to make sure everybody's feeling taken care of. We do these webinars every couple of weeks. I know there's been like a month in between the last one, obviously for the end of the year, and I actually took a much needed vacation at the beginning of the year. So our next Webgility Online webinar will be on I think the 11th. No, the 18th of February. Um, we have a WebGility desktop webinar scheduled for the same topic on the 4th of February. And you are more than welcome to attend it. We do them again every 2 weeks on Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern. You don't have to be a WebGility desktop customer to attend it. Just know that when we're, walking through like screenshots and stuff like that, a lot of the framework is going to be centered on how it's done in WebGility desktop or how it's done in WebGility Online, respectively. But we are more than happy to answer any questions you have, regardless of which product you use. So look forward to an email with the recording of this session that we just had. If you guys have any questions, feel free to email me directly. My email is john.may@webgility.com. Or you can respond directly to the email that the webinar recording gets sent from. But either way, we appreciate you guys joining. Scott, you can see the recorded webinars. Let me get you a link actually, real quick. Uh, I'm going to stop my share.
And while John is sharing the details, I just wanted to hop in and let everyone know that you can directly reach out to us on support@webgility.com if you guys have any questions. Feel free to tell your friends, your family, your colleagues, your business person about Webgility so that they can also join in on the live webinars. And if they have questions related to their business, they can definitely reach out to us anytime. It's
Yeah,
not mandatory to have a Webgility account, though.
perfect. Yeah, it's well said. And let me get the playlist link. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, here we go. So I'm dropping the playlist link in. This will take you directly to our YouTube channel with the playlist of all of our customer webinar recordings. And then from there, you can look at any other of the videos that we have for WebGility. And then one last thing, just sort of related to what Purit said. Don't forget that we do have a customer referral program. So if you know another business that could take advantage of WebGility, joining our partner program allows you to get revenue share based on their subscription for the life of their subscription. So if you refer somebody to WebGility and you're a part of the partner program, you get 20% of their recurring subscription every single month, again, for the life of their subscription. So not a bad way to make some passive income if you know maybe you're in like a local business Facebook group or something like that, and you feel like people could take advantage of it. If you are interested in joining the program, just email myself, or you can go to, I think it's webgility.com, become a partner. There we go. Okay. Last link I'm going to share. I dropped it in the chat. Again, if you guys need anything at all, just reach out to us. Appreciate you guys joining and Happy New Year, and we'll see you on the next one.